So I know everybody's up in arms right now with finding out that next week One Piece is going to be on break, even though we've had a very long break with One Piece already thanks to the holiday season. But before I get into that though, there is another thing that needs to be addressed. Something that needs to be talked about that was kind of revealed in this chapter of One Piece that just made me scratch my head, and I was wondering if this is legit. Makes me wonder. It really makes me wonder, and it makes me wonder if Oda made a mistake, because he has made a mistake similar, or if this legit was supposed to be a hint at something else going on. So kind of let me explain. And actually, before I begin, let me do a brief FYI. I highly doubt I'm the first person to mention this. I highly doubt I'm the first person to bring this up, because the One Piece community is a very vast and big community, so I highly doubt what I'm about to say, I'm the first one to come about saying it. However, I just want to inform everybody if you were unaware of it. So start off, it was revealed in this, chapter. A new character was revealed. We got, Flambe. Flambe was a new character, and she is the, 33rd daughter of Charlotte Linlin. So that means that, she's the 33rd daughter, and she's age 15. That was the information we got in this chapter about her. Overall, nothing wrong. I mean, the character overall, like the character so far, I like the design, very interesting. However, when you really take a moment to look at her title, she is the 33rd daughter of Charlotte Linlin, you'll start noticing something very weird. Pudding, Charlotte Pudding, she is the 35th daughter of Charlotte Linlin. Now, let me kind of back up here and go over, Flambe's characterization that we got in this chapter. She is the 33rd daughter, age 15. That means she is older than Pudding, since Pudding is the 35th daughter. So that means that Pudding is below the age of 15. At, I guess max age she can be, if the numbers are right and there is no mistake there, she's age 15. And most likely, depending, she could be a lot lower. So, I wonder if that is a mistake, or if that was intentional, because let me kind of give another FYI. Oda has already made a mistake already in the past with this arc, when he accidentally mixed up the numbers and stuff of the characters with their birth dates and all that, and their order of daughter or son. So this has already been mixed up once. So there is a likely possibility this could be a mistake on Oda's part. It's an honest mistake. Stuff like that does happen. And so my concern here could be nothing. But even then, though, for right now, Flambe, she apparently is the 33rd daughter, while Pudding is the 35th daughter, which would mean that she is below the age of 15, trying to marry Sanji, which is obviously way older than her. And I'm thinking to myself, what? What? Is Oda going that way? Is he really going that way with her character right now? Because then that would actually probably make it to where Sanji and Pudding couldn't really be together after this arc. That would mean that there would need to be a big time skip for that to even happen in the first place. So, we'll see where that goes. But I wanted to bring that to everybody's attention, just in case you haven't heard about it and this is your first time hearing about it. I just wanted to bring it to everybody's attention, because that's very weird, and I don't know if that's a translation error from MS. I don't know if that's an Oda mistake. I have no idea, or if that was intentional. I just wanted to make sure everybody was aware of that. Anyways, though, let's talk about the first part of the chapter, which is Luffy versus Katakuri. So, most of that section of the chapter, for the most part, if I want to do a brief summary, it is kind of like a status update on the fight. However, there is some good content in that status update, which I will talk about. But overall, though, it is a status update, and there wasn't really a whole lot of progression in it in terms of that content, but it was still good content. I just want to clarify that. So anyways, in the fight, the first big chunk of the chapter, we see Luffy going up against Katakuri, and this fight's been raging on for hours. It's been going on for a long time now, and as we know, Luffy, this man is going up against an opponent, probably his hardest opponent he's ever had to face. This person is mentally draining him, physically draining him. He's having to do everything to stand up to Katakuri to be able to survive and make it through this. He is doing everything he possibly can, which shows how strong Katakuri is. And we also got to remember the fact that Katakuri, he's kind of like a nice, good stepping stone for Luffy. When Luffy finally is able to manage to beat Katakuri, Luffy is now finally transcending into the realm of Yonkos. Once he beats, like a commander like Katakuri, he is now at the level where he's getting closer to that Yonko status. He won't be there exactly, but he's getting closer to it, and this is a very, very major step for Luffy. This is very important for his character, and for him to eventually become the Pirate King. And so in this case, when you see the chapter and how, you know, he's fighting back against Katakuri, there's a lot of meaning to it. And I do like the fact of how Luffy, even though he's struggling, he's being pushed down time and time again, he continues to get back up. And I want to kind of talk about that. When you look at the fight, it's very obvious that the fight is one-sided. Luffy is getting destroyed. Like, he stands no chance against Katakuri whatsoever. The only reason why Luffy is able to stand up at this moment and fight against Katakuri is because he is very persistent. When he puts his mind to something, he will get it done. That's how Luffy is as a character. When he wants to do something, he will do it. He will go to the very last breath to get something done. We've seen this man do it time and time again throughout the series of One Piece. Think about Impel Down. Think about, you know, Amazon Lily. Think about, you know, what happened in the War of the Best and in other arcs too. Not just those arcs, but when Luffy wants to get something done, he will get it done. He will go as far as he can until he literally can no longer move, until he, you know, can get something done. That's how he is. That's how he is as a person. And this is a quality of Luffy, and we get to see that once again in this chapter. Him constantly getting back up. Even though Katakuri has the advantage, he's beating Luffy down. Luffy does not get disheartened. He doesn't start to get scared. He doesn't try to run away. He doesn't try to, you know, get angry thoughts or whatever. Even though he's slightly getting frustrated, he even calms himself down to keep himself in a cool manner for he can actually use observation haki and learn Katakuri's technique. So let's kind of talk about that for a second. I don't know how many noticed it, but all of the techniques that Katakuri really used in this chapter was basically what Luffy has been using throughout the entire series. Now, we already know that Katakuri is basically Luffy. He's basically Proto-Luffy. He's like Luffy, but a person that actually knows how to be a lot greater than Luffy. He's someone that has more experience, he's had more time being a pirate, and so he is able to do everything Luffy can do, but much better. And this is something we're all fully aware of. And in the chapter, Katakuri uses basically every single technique that Luffy's used throughout the series. We get to see like a Gatling gun, similar technique from Katakuri. We have the leg movement when he kicks Luffy. He like literally looks behind him, he kicks Luffy, like stretches his leg and kicks Luffy, which is a very similar move to what Luffy does throughout the series. And then you also see these other little moments of how he uses his fist to punch, like this big gigantic fist, which is very similar to how Luffy is with his Gear 3rd. So I like that element to the fight, just once again showcasing that Katakuri is proving that how much of a higher level he is to Luffy, that he is using every technique that Luffy is capable of, and just showcasing that it's much stronger, and, you know, he can't even fight up against it. Now, Luffy is also taking things from Katakuri as well. He's also trying to learn observation haki, which can kind of see into the future, and it is working to some extent. It is progressing to that point to where he can slightly do it, but overall it's very inconsistent. He's not able to completely control it. He's not able to do it at will whenever he wants, but it is slowly starting to take effect. So, judging by how this fight is going, and how Big Mom is going to probably eat the cake in the next chapter, Luffy might not even get to actually get observation haki to see into the future. That might not even be a thing yet. I mean, depending on how it goes, depending on how the Big Mom thing goes, the fight could be called off. And that would mean that Luffy would stop fighting Katakuri, he'd be beat up, obviously, and maybe Luffy won't be able to learn that essence of observation haki, which would be pretty interesting if it went that direction. But this is a good, you know, like, stepping stone for Luffy to be able to open up into that realm and be able to do stuff like this, because it'd be a very powerful technique for him to learn. But, yeah, overall, I do like that section of the fight. I do like how Katakuri was just, you know, trying to crush Luffy's pride and his spirit. It wasn't more about, like, trying to beat Luffy in that moment, and what we see in the chapter, he's actually just trying to crush Luffy's spirit. That's what it looks like to me, because Luffy's showcasing these eyes of a beast that continues to rush towards him, and he's not backing down. I mean, every time he tries to push Luffy to the ground and put him on his, you know, butt and all that, basically he gets right back up, and he has these eyes of rage, which is showcasing that he is not giving up. And that's kind of what he was trying to do to Luffy as well. He was trying to crush his spirit when he was trying to hit a shoulder, and he's like, I hit your right shoulder when you tried to attack me with your right hand. I hit your left shoulder when you tried to attack me with your left hand. And, you know, I pushed you back down when you tried to get back up. He was trying to crush Luffy's spirit. He wants Luffy not to get back up. He wants Luffy to just accept it that Katakuri is the better person. He is the stronger man in this fight. That is what he's trying to prove. It's no longer basically a fight of, like, who wins or who dies or whatever, who lives and dies. It's more of a fight of pride and spirit. And I like that essence of the chapter when it came to that part of the fight of the, this week's chapter of One Piece. So, anyways, let's move over to a quick little segment to talk about, which is Stussy. So, Stussy, in this chapter of One Piece, she reveals how the explosion happened on Whole Cake Island. And so, that basically kind of opens the door up for a potential possibility for more drama with the Big Mom Pirates with the Straw Hat Pirates. Now, depending on how it goes with the cake, obviously, most likely that's not going to matter in the end, because depending on how Big Mom is and how she is when it comes to food, she could possibly say, you know what, I forgive the Straw Hats because this cake is very good. Something like that could potentially happen for all we know. So, even then with that reveal, the only thing I could really get out of that is that can kind of run Big Mom's reputation through the dirt a little bit more because of what the Straw Hats have just been doing throughout this entire arc. Basically making the whole Big Mom Pirates look really bad. Just going into Big Mom's territory, going to her home turf, and causing all this mayhem. Obviously, if news gets out about this, it's just going to make them look very, very bad. So I feel like that's the major point to really take from that and why that was kind of brought up in the chapter. Anyways, moving over to the next stuff, we move over into Big Mom with the other Straw Hats and all that, like Jinbei, Brook, Chopper, Carrot, Nami. We move over to them, and that segment of the chapter overall is basically kind of continuing off where, the last chapter left off, and we got to see how Big Mom, once again, is just this overwhelming presence. She is something that, honestly, no Straw Hat right now can really just take down. They may be able to stall her, they may be able to slightly do some damage to her, but overall, they're not really able to do quite much against Big Mom, because she's just that crazy powerful, which is to be expected. She is a Yonko. She is something that's been built up for so long, not just Big Mom, but Yonkos in general have been built up for so long. For her being this overwhelming presence, it just makes perfect sense. And I do like that element of how the sun, Prometheus and all of that in the chapter when Big Mom was on top of him, I like how that was related to Big Mom's soul. Brook's like, so that is a Yonko's soul. I like that element to the chapter. It basically shows how bright Big Mom is. She is this overwhelming force, this strong force, basically like the sun against people that are like just ants compared to, like little planets compared to this massive star, which is the sun. And that's kind of what I think Oda was going with when, Brook said that in this chapter. So that is a Yonko's soul. And it also, as we know, Prometheus is a part of Big Mom's soul, and so is Zeus and all of that. So when you see these things, that just shows how strong Big Mom's soul is to be able to have her soul capable of power like that. It's just scary when you really think about that. So Prometheus, his size and how he's now basically able to resist seawater. Jinbei even stated in this chapter, even if you used to splash water on Prometheus, it wouldn't really even do much in the first place. That's kind of scary. It just shows how strong Prometheus is, and once again, go showcasing the fact that, a Yonko, they're no joke. They will definitely get the job done if they want to get the job done. If they want to chase you down, they're going to chase you down. So, yeah. It really does look like the only way to really get Big Mom off their tail is to actually give her a cake. If they don't, they're probably going to die. And that just, once again, showcases the threat level of a Yonko. So, yeah. Anyways, I want to talk about the Chopper thing for a second. So, Chopper said a very interesting line in this chapter, which I want to kind of talk about. It's nothing relatively, like, crazy, but it is something worthy of mentioning. Chopper says that even if he can't defeat Big Mom, he will drag her down in the depths with him. Basically, what he was trying to say is even though he probably can't defeat her in normal means, he's willing to grab her and drag her into the ocean to bring her down with him. Because even though Big Mom is a Yonko, at the end of the day, she is still a Devil Fruit user. So if she hits water, GG. Straight GG, okay? It's GG. So Chopper, if he could somehow manage to grab hold of Big Mom and drag her into the ocean, he technically wins, at the cost of sacrificing himself, but he would still technically win. I thought that was a really interesting moment to showcase how Chopper, how he is willing to go that far for his crew, how he's willing to go so far to protect everybody else and just, lay down his life to do anything he, can do to stop Big Mom, and once again does show the threat level of her as well. So good stuff there. I do like that little element to the chapter. So that's about it. That's about it when it comes to that. So, yeah, tell me your thoughts. Once again, as a quick reminder, we're not going to have a chapter of One Piece next week. It's on break. It says that at the end of the chapter. So if you missed that, if you missed that in any way, just let me know no chapter of One Piece next week. Just making sure I clarify that. So I want to end this video here. If you love my content, please subscribe. If you like this video, please leave a like. Love you guys. Please be safe. Chibi out.